Hakadosh. Good afternoon. This is Bekiim Bahalacha 5, day 43. This is page 109, Siman Lamed Bet, Siman 32. We are on Halacha Kufayin Gimel 173. We're talking about now the folding and the wrapping of the scrolls. Remember that obviously we have to wrap up the scrolls and put it inside the boxes of the Tefilin. So before inserting the scrolls into the batim, each one must be rolled up from the end to the beginning. That's, by the way, by mezuzah as well. You always roll it backwards. You're not rolling it forwards. So you're doing back to the right to forwards. So he says from its end to the beginning, so that as soon as someone begins to unroll the scroll, he immediately sees the first words of each line. The Talmud describes this halacha as rolling the scroll from Echad to Shema. Since the word Echad appears at the end of the line, while the word Shema appears at the beginning. This halacha applies equally to the scrolls of Tefilin Shel Yad, Tefilin Shel Rosh, and Mezuzah scrolls. So it's all three. All three you're doing from the end to the beginning. Echad, backwards. So he says if someone mistakenly rolled the scrolls from the beginning to the end, it's still kosher. Somebody made a mistake. Fine. 174. Right? Kuf Ayin Daled. The scribe has to be very careful to wait until the ink is dry completely before rolling them. Otherwise, the ink might smear and ruin the scroll altogether. Meaning, if he's not going to do that, it's a problem. So therefore, you have to be very, very cautious, very careful that it's going to be dry. 175. After rolling up each of the Tefillin scrolls, each of the rolled up scrolls is wrapped up in another piece of parchment. Some poskim insisted that the wrappings must be made of parchment that comes from a kosher animal. If no spare pieces of parchment are available, it's permissible to wrap the scrolls with pieces of woven material. Okay? Look in the 144 of the footnote. The Bet Yosef ruled that it is possible to use a piece of woven cloth if there's no parchment available. And this is a ruling also the Mishambra and the Pri Megadim. The Kol Yaakov, however, cited is the Kol Yaakov is the Kav HaChaim. He says, no, that the Mlechet Shemayim noted the Moran did not repeat this ruling in the Shulchan Aruch and apparently retracted from it. The Mlechet Shemayim tried to explain that the reason for the retraction could be that he could not find a plausible justification for it. The Kol Yaakov concluded that one may still rely on the leniency when one has no other choice, but if not, obviously, you have it. Okay. Next. The parchment wrapper is folded vertically around the rolled scroll. It is best that the wrapper be wide enough to cover the entire diameter of the rolled scroll. No Ashuri letter may be written on the parchment wrappers. These halachot apply to both Tefilin Shel Yad and Tefilin Shel Rosh. Okay. Halacha 176. Kufayin Vav. Halacha Moshe Misinai also requires that hair of a kosher animal must be animal be wound around each of the Tefillin scrolls, both for Tefilin Shel Yad and Tefilin Shel Rosh. The hair may be taken from an animal that was not slaughtered properly. Okay, he says, or one that has a physical flaw and makes it a trefa, meaning a trefa or nevela, but it has to be a kosher animal. But it could be a nevela or trefa. Okay, as long as the species is kosher. He says if no hair is wound around the scrolls, then even though they are wrapped in parchment tefillin, they're not kosher. Right? The tefillin are not kosher. So basically, when you wrap it, you have another parchment around, and then you have a hair of the kosher animal. Doesn't have to be a kosher animal slaughtered. Even without, it could be a nevela. Nevela means that it died without slaughtering. Or a trefa, which means it was going to die within the year. That means even though it's not kosher to eat, but it's a kosher species of an animal, it's going to be okay. Okay? Now he says calf's hair, 177. The custom is to coil the hair of a calf around the scrolls rather than the hair of another animal. This reminds us of the sin of golden calf and warns us not to repeat the error. Also, it serves to atone for the sin. So basically, it's like an atonement. So therefore, that's why they use dafka calf's hair. Generally, the hair of the tail is used since they are long, tough, and can be knotted easily. Before using it, the hair must be washed well. There's no rule regarding the number of hairs used to wind around. It means you could use it doesn't matter how many of them. If the hair of the calf is not available, the hair of a cow or a bull may be used. The hair of a sheep must not be used, since Halacha considers it to be wool, and it's not considered hair. So it has to be specifically, again, hair and not wool. Have a wonderful day.